Scientists discover a new species lurking in the depths of the Southern Ocean. This is the Antarctic strawberry feather star.
Biologists have found a wealth of new species after exploring a rift some 5 kilometers beneath the sea. The organisms include some that scientists can't even identify.
In the frozen depths of Antarctica, there's a secret world full of amazing life under the ice. Recently, brave explorers and new technology have shown us this secret place. It is home to tough creatures that survive in one of the coldest places on Earth. From strange sea creatures in icy waters to an isolated ATM, Antarctica hides secrets that surprise us. What incredible creatures could be hiding under the ice? Recently, a drone filmed some of the most surprising footage ever seen in Antarctica, aiding us in uncovering the answers. This Antarctica drone flies over ice wall, captures shocking footage that will leave you speechless. Weddell seals. During a research trip in the Antarctic Sea, scientists from the British Antarctic Survey discovered a large breeding ground for ice fish. In the same icy waters, they found out that the Weddell seal is unique as the only mammal able to live in Antarctica throughout the entire year. This amazing animal spends much of its life under the thick ice of the frozen sea. The Antarctic Ocean can get as cold as -2 degrees Celsius, and Weddell seals can only stay underwater for about an hour before needing to come up for air. To manage this, they need to find a natural crack in the ice to create a breathing hole. To help with this, Weddell seals have a special tool, a sharp, strong tooth that helps them scrape away ice and keep their breathing hole open. Their large, pointed teeth are perfect for this job. These breathing holes also serve another purpose. During mating season, males use them to attract females. One male can attract up to 10 females, so these spots are hotly contested. This male Weddell seal is on the lookout for a good hole. It's not easy finding one under the ice, but seals have excellent hearing and sensitive whiskers that help them. His call can be heard by other seals nearly 3 kilometers away. He's found a hole, but another male has already claimed it. The battle begins, but the occupant is too strong, so he will have to move on and try his luck elsewhere. Weddell seals are pretty big, measuring between 2.5 and 3.5 meters long and weighing from 400 to 600 kilograms. They rank among the largest seals, with their bulky bodies and short front flippers. Moving on to their size differences, males are typically smaller, around 500 kilograms or less, while females can be slightly larger. Despite being roughly the same length, males have a thicker neck and a wider head compared to females. Scientists often use genetic tests in the lab to identify their sex. Interestingly, their face, with its short mouth line and whiskers, is sometimes compared to that of a cat. Transitioning to their appearance, Weddell seals have a thin fur coat that covers most of their body, leaving only small patches around their flippers bare. Over time, the color and pattern of their fur can change, often fading as they age. Their fur molts at the start of summer, revealing a new color pattern. Adult seals show a transition from bluish-black or dark gray on their backs to light gray or silver on their bellies. Before shedding their old fur, their coats may turn brown. Additionally, adult males often have scars, especially around their genital area. As for seal pups, they are born with a soft, fluffy coat that matches their mother's in color. However, they shed this coat after 3 to 4 weeks and develop a darker, more adult-like fur. At birth, pups are about half the length of their mothers and weigh between 25 and 30 kilograms. They grow rapidly, gaining around 2 kilograms a day, and by 6 to 7 weeks, they can weigh approximately 100 kilograms. In their natural habitat, Weddell seals are typically found on fast ice, which is ice attached to land. They gather in small groups around cracks and holes in the ice. During winter, they stay in the water to avoid blizzards, with only their heads poking through breathing holes. On land, they are often seen lying on their sides. Although they don't migrate long distances, they move within their region to find breathing holes and exit cracks in the ice as the seasons change. Emperor penguins. Emperor penguins are the largest and heaviest penguins in Antarctica, giving them the top spot in this icy continent. Despite the harsh Antarctic winter, Their ability to breed and thrive in such extreme conditions is not only impressive, but essential for maintaining the balance of the Antarctic ecosystem. The male and female are similar in plumage and size, reaching 100 centimeters in length and weighing from 22 to 45 kilograms. Feathers of the head and back are black and sharply delineated from the white belly, pale yellow breast, and bright yellow ear patches. Like all species of penguin, the emperor is flightless, with a streamlined body, and wings stiffened and flattened into flippers for a marine habitat. Its diet consists primarily of fish, but also includes crustaceans, such as krill, and cephalopods, such as squid. While hunting, the species can remain submerged for around 20 minutes, diving to a depth of 535 meters. The emperor penguin has several unique adaptations to help it thrive in its harsh environment. For instance, its hemoglobin is specially structured to work well even with low oxygen levels. Additionally, its solid bones help minimize barotrauma, and it can slow down its metabolism and shut down non-essential organs when needed. When it comes to breeding, emperor penguins stand out as the only penguin species that breeds during the Antarctic winter. They embark on long treks across the ice, covering distances between 50 and 120 kilometers to reach their breeding colonies, which can house several thousand penguins. Once there, the female lays a single egg and then heads back to the sea to feed. Meanwhile, the male incubates the egg for just over 2 months. Afterward, both parents take turns foraging at sea and caring for their chick. In the wild, emperor penguins typically live around 20 years, although some have been known to live up to 50 years. Antarctic sea spiders. Get to know the sea spider, a mysterious Antarctica ocean creature that's often mistaken for a spider that's lost its way. But don't worry, these 8-legged creatures are perfectly suited for ocean life, whether in the sunny, shallow reefs or the dark, mysterious depths. However, in the deep sea, where it's dark and the seafloor is soft and muddy, they have evolved to blend in. With their long legs and slender bodies, deep-sea spiders can glide through the dark waters without getting bogged down in the mud. Sea spiders have a unique body structure where some of their vital organs, including their reproductive organs, are actually located inside their legs. Even with this unusual trait, they are not the fastest or most noticeable predators. Typically, sea spiders, or pycnogonids, have separate male and female sexes, except for one special species that has both male and female traits. In female sea spiders, the ovaries are present, while males have testes located on their backs near their digestive system. The reproduction process in sea spiders begins with a short courtship ritual. This leads to external fertilization. After fertilization, the males take on the job of caring for the eggs and looking after the young. Moving on to their early life stages, sea spiders have 4 main types of larvae: the typical protonymphon larva, the encysted larva, the atypical protonymphon larva, and the attaching larva. The typical protonymphon larva is the most common, living freely and eventually maturing into an adult. On the other hand, the encysted larva hatches and seeks out a polyp colony to burrow into, where it forms a cyst and waits until it develops into a juvenile. Sea spiders are found across the globe, from Australia and New Zealand to the Pacific coast of the United States, the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, and even polar regions. They usually prefer shallow waters but can also be discovered as deep as 7,000 meters. Their preferred habitats include marine and estuarine environments, where they often hide under rocks or among algae along shorelines. When it comes to movement, sea spiders either walk along the sea floor using their long legs or swim above it with a pulsing motion. Their diet mainly consists of small animals like cnidarians, sponges, polychaetes, and bryozoans. Although they can insert their proboscis into larger sea anemones, they generally don't harm them. Thus, sea spiders often act more like parasites than predators in their interactions with sea anemones. Tardigrades. Tardigrades, also known as water bears, are tiny creatures with amazing toughness. They can survive extreme conditions that would kill most other life forms, like the vacuum of space. One of their incredible tricks is to dry out and go into a deep sleep. During this sleep, called dormancy, they can stay in this state for years. When they come into contact with water again, they wake up and start living normally again. Even though tardigrades can handle extreme conditions, they are often found in more familiar places. For example, they live on lichens and mosses, so if you soak some moss in water, you might discover these tiny creatures living there. Beyond mosses, tardigrades can be found in a variety of other environments. They thrive in sand dunes, along coastlines, in soil, within leaf litter, and in both marine and freshwater sediments. In fact, in some aquatic environments, you might encounter up to 25,000 tardigrades in just 1 liter of water. Most tardigrades live on land, but around 62 species only live in freshwater. Interestingly, many marine tardigrades belong to the Heterotardigrada class, which is one of the oldest groups of tardigrades. This suggests that tardigrades originally evolved in the ocean before spreading to other habitats. When it comes to reproduction, tardigrades have some interesting features. Most species have both males and females, with females usually being larger. Each tardigrade has a single reproductive organ above the intestine. In males, there are 2 tubes from the testes that open through 1 pore near the anus. In females, there is a single tube that opens either just above the anus or directly into the rectum. After mating, which often happens during molting, the female lays eggs inside her shed skin and covers them with sperm. Some species mate before shedding their skin, and the eggs develop inside this shed skin. Sometimes, the eggs stick to nearby surfaces. About 14 days later, the eggs hatch, and the young tardigrades already have all the cells they need. They grow by making their existing cells larger and may molt up to 12 times during their lives. Another interesting fact is that tardigrades have courtship rituals. This behavior, first observed in 1895, shows that several males may gather around a single female, revealing a unique way of mating for these small creatures. Top predators of the frozen ocean. Leopard seals are the top predators in the Antarctic seas, admired for their amazing speed and strength. They're the second largest seals in the region, just behind the southern elephant seal. Adult males usually measure between 2.4 and 3.5 meters long and weigh between 200 and 600 kilograms, while females are a bit larger. Their sleek, torpedo-shaped bodies and distinctive spotted coats, which range from silver gray to black, make them stand out in the icy waters. With their long, powerful bodies and sharp teeth, leopard seals are excellent hunters. They eat a variety of marine life, including fish, squid, and sometimes even penguins or other seals. Their agility lets them swim at speeds of up to 37 kilometers per hour and leap out of the water to grab prey on ice floes. When they are not breeding, leopard seals prefer to live alone and only come together to mate. After mating, females give birth to a single pup on floating ice and nurse it for about 4 to 6 weeks before it starts eating solid food. Alongside leopard seals, the colossal squid is yet another remarkable predator in the Antarctic. These giant squids are famous for having the largest eyes of any animal, each as big as a dinner plate. They live in the deep, dark waters of the Southern Ocean and can grow up to 46 feet long. The colossal squid has tentacles with sharp hooks that are great for grabbing big prey like the Patagonian toothfish. Its huge beak, the largest of any squid, is made to tear its food apart efficiently. The colossal squid prefers staying in the extreme depths, up to 7,200 feet below the surface, to avoid most threats, except for the sperm whale, its main predator. Scars on sperm whales reveal the intense battles they've had with giant squids. Colossal squids are thought to be solitary hunters who use stealth and surprise to catch their prey. Because they live in the deep ocean and are hard to spot, scientists are especially interested in studying these mysterious, massive creatures to learn more about them. Now, it's time for today's subscriber pick. In a recent development from the frozen continent, an Antarctica drone flies over ice wall, captures shocking footage that will leave you speechless. This video caught the attention of Joe Rogan, the well-known comedian and podcast host, who has a passion for diving into intriguing and offbeat topics. On a recent episode of The Joe Rogan Experience, he turned his attention to the icy mystery of Antarctica. Rogan was very interested in this cold place. He talked about how hard it is to live there and the amazing animals that can survive, like penguins, seals, and krill. Rogan was amazed at how animals thrive in the extreme cold and strong winds of Antarctica. This made him wonder if such resilience might mean life could survive in other places beyond Earth. The excitement continued when a recent drone flight over Antarctica captured incredible footage of things buried under the ice for centuries. This left Rogan and his listeners amazed and curious about what lies beneath. The drone footage raised more questions about Antarctica's history. Rogan then talked about theories suggesting that ancient civilizations or even aliens might have been in Antarctica long ago. He explored whether these ideas could be true, even though many people are skeptical. Rogan also considered why Antarctica is so secretive and why it interests people so much, wondering if there are hidden discoveries that could change our view of history. Rogan's ability to mix humor with curiosity made these complex topics easier to understand and more engaging. His podcast is a great place for lively discussions about unusual ideas. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think Antarctica might have secrets about ancient civilizations or aliens? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Giant isopod. In the deep icy waters of the Antarctic oceans, you will find giant isopods. These are large, intriguing creatures from the Bathynomus family. This genus has around 20 species, with Bathynomus giganteus being the biggest and most prominent. There are also other large species like Bathynomus kensley. These deep-sea giants bear a resemblance to the small woodlice seen on land. The scientific interest in these creatures began in 1879, when French zoologist Alphonse Milne Edwards first described them. He was given a young Bathynomus giganteus from the Gulf of Mexico by his colleague Alexander Agassiz. This discovery was important because it challenged the old belief that the deep ocean was empty of life. Among these discoveries are giant isopods, which, despite their large size, ranging from 8 to 50 centimeters, isopods are rarely targeted by commercial fisheries. However, they have gained attention for sometimes attacking fish in trawling nets. Some of these isopods, caught off the coasts of the Americas and Japan, are displayed in public aquariums, where their unique appearance attracts visitors. Giant isopods are a great example of deep-sea gigantism, just like giant squid. Unlike the smaller crustaceans, these creatures grow to a much larger size. They have a tough, segmented shell and can roll into a ball for defense, similar to how woodlice protect themselves on land. They possess compound eyes with multiple facets and 2 pairs of antennae. With 7 pairs of legs on their thorax, some are specialized for handling food. Additionally, they have features for swimming and breathing, including flat, gill-like structures. Even though giant isopods look similar, there are differences in their features, such as the number and shape of spines on their tails and the structure of their legs. These details help scientists classify and understand these fascinating deep-sea creatures. Hourglass dolphins. Hourglass dolphins are named for the distinctive white hourglass-shaped markings on their black bodies. They live exclusively in the sub-Antarctic and Antarctic seas, and their unique look makes them seem like they are dressed in expensive tuxedos. These dolphins usually travel in groups of around 8, but can form larger groups of up to 100 individuals. Their coloring features a black top and a white belly, with white patches on their sides that sometimes show dark gray. Historically, whalers referred to them as sea cows or sea skunks due to their appearance, though they are not related to sea cows. The 2 white patches on each side, connected by a thin white stripe, create a shape that resembles an hourglass. This is why they are called hourglass dolphins. Their scientific name, cruciger, which means cross-carrier, reflects the cross-like pattern of their black coloration when seen from above. When comparing them to other dolphins in their range, hourglass dolphins are easily recognizable. The southern right whale dolphin, which lives in the same southern waters, might look similar, but lacks a dorsal fin, unlike the hourglass dolphin's tall, curved fin. This fin can vary in shape, especially in older dolphins. Hourglass dolphins also have special disc-shaped vertebrae that help them stay stable in the water. Adult males are about 1.8 meters long and weigh over 90 kilograms, while juvenile females are slightly smaller, ranging from 1.6 to 1.8 meters and weighing between 70 and 90 kilograms. Despite their size, these dolphins are incredibly fast and agile. Males might be a bit lighter than females, though there isn't enough data to be certain. Female hourglass dolphins have a gestation period of about 13 months and generally give birth from mid-July to October. Each dolphin has between 26 and 34 teeth in the upper jaw and 27 to 35 teeth in the lower jaw. They use echolocation to find their food, like all dolphins, though there is still no confirmed information about their calves, size, color, or diet. These dolphins are true Antarctic residents and prefer the cold waters near the surface, where temperatures range from -0.3 degrees Celsius to 7 degrees Celsius. They have been seen in water as warm as 14 degrees Celsius, but usually stick to their colder habitat. Hourglass dolphins migrate south during the austral summer and move north during the austral winter. Belgica midge. Meet the Antarctic midge, a small insect that's doing a big job surviving in a very tough spot. This little creature, no bigger than a grain of rice, is the largest land animal native to Antarctica, and it's thriving. Despite the freezing temperatures, fierce winds, and dry air, the Antarctic midge is living its best life. First discovered by Romanian biologist Emil Racoviță during the Belgian Antarctic expedition in the late 1800s, this tiny insect has been fascinating to scientists ever since. Its ability to survive and even flourish in such harsh conditions is a testament to the incredible resilience of life on Earth. This tiny insect manages to survive all year long in one of the coldest, windiest, and driest spots on the planet. It was first discovered during the Belgian Antarctic expedition, which took place from 1879 to 1899. Romanian biologist Emil Racoviță was the one who identified this little creature. During the expedition led by Adrian de Gerlache, the team collected various samples from different parts of Antarctica, including a flightless midge and its larvae. Belgian scientist Jean-Charles Jacobs examined these samples and officially named the midge Belgica antarctica. The name honors both the expedition's strong ship, the SY Belgica, and the place where the midge was first discovered, now called Gerlache Strait. Surviving in such extreme conditions requires special adaptations. Although temperatures can drop to -40 degrees Celsius, the Antarctic midge can't endure anything below -15 degrees Celsius. It burrows just 1 centimeter below the surface, where temperatures stay between 0 and -2 degrees Celsius most of the year, avoiding the lethal cold. This stable environment, protected by layers of ice and snow, helps it withstand the harsh climate. The midge also uses a process called cold hardening to prepare its body for freezing temperatures. The midge's survival depends on special compounds like trehalose, glucose, and erythritol, which protect its cells from freezing. These substances reduce ice formation and stabilize proteins and cell membranes. Heat shock proteins also help protect the midge's cells from extreme temperatures, keeping it alive in a wide range of conditions. Interestingly, Belgica antarctica not only survives, but thrives in the cold. Its larvae cannot handle temperatures even slightly above freezing, and heat above 30 degrees Celsius can be fatal within hours. The midge can also tolerate losing up to 70% of its body water. Lost treasures in Antarctica. Switching from wildlife to human history, Another interesting discovery was made on Livingston Island in the South Shetland Islands during the 1980s. Researchers found a skull and a leg bone on the shore, belonging to a young indigenous woman from Chile. This was an unexpected find in such a remote place. In the 1800s, seal hunters from different parts of the world, including South America, came to the Antarctic Peninsula and nearby islands for the seal fur trade. These remains might be linked to those early expeditions. How this young woman came to be on Livingston Island and what happened to her is still unknown. This find shows the difficulties faced by early explorers. Meanwhile, in 2014, researchers from the United Kingdom, working with the British Antarctic Survey, made an amazing discovery under West Antarctica's Filchner-Ronne ice shelf. Using radar and satellite images, they found huge tunnels beneath the ice, some as tall as 820 feet, almost as high as the Eiffel Tower. Before this, scientists thought that meltwater under the ice spread out evenly. This new find showed that the water flows through large, river-like channels, changing our understanding of how ice melts and affects ocean levels. The team also uncovered an ancient beetle frozen in the ice. This wasn't just any beetle, it was Ball's Antarctic tundra beetle, which lived 14 to 20 million years ago, during a time when Antarctica was much different from today. Back then, the continent was full of life, with southern beech trees, buttercups, and mosses. This fossil, discovered near the Beardmore Glacier, gives us a glimpse of a much greener and livelier Antarctica. In another interesting find, a box of old photographs was uncovered, frozen in ice for over 100 years. These photographs, found in a hut used by Captain Robert Falcon Scott, show the challenging journey of Ernest Shackleton's team in 1912. They had aimed to be the first to reach the South Pole, but were pushed away by a severe storm. Stuck with limited food, they had to endure the cold for almost 2 years. The photographs reveal the tough conditions they faced. As we look at these frozen snapshots of history, it makes us wonder, should we leave these sites undisturbed, or is it worth exploring them further? The loneliest ATM. Did you know there's an ATM at the South Pole? In one of the coldest and most remote places on Earth, there's possibly the loneliest ATM you will ever see. Located in Antarctica, this machine stands alone, facing freezing temperatures in a place with no permanent residence or government. Still, between 1,000 and 5,000 visitors come to the continent each year, depending on the season. At McMurdo Station, the biggest research center on the continent, this unique ATM, run by Wells Fargo and dispensing United States dollars, becomes a real lifeline. During the brutal winter, when only around 200 people are around, it's crucial for daily life. The ATM helps scientists and staff buy things from the station store, send mail, or even enjoy a drink at the local bar. Keeping this machine running isn't easy. Every 2 years, technicians are flown into service and update the machines. These technicians go through tough tests to make sure they can handle the isolation and severe weather, which can sometimes trap them. And if the ATM breaks down before the technicians come back, the McMurdo staff are trained to handle basic repairs. There's also another ATM on site to ensure that even in this isolated place, people can always get cash when they need it. The Endurance frozen end. The discovery of Ernest Shackleton's ship, the Endurance, resting at the bottom of Antarctica's Weddell Sea, brings us back to a challenging expedition. Shackleton and his crew battled cold, starvation, and stormy seas. By January 1915, despite their best efforts to cut through the ice, the crew was stuck. The ship was trapped by ice that slowly destroyed it. They spent months hoping for the ice to melt, but it never did. On October 27, 1915, Shackleton had to give up on the Endurance as the ice crushed it and sent it to the bottom of the sea. Then, in 2007, almost 100 years later, something surprising was found under Cape Royds. 5 crates were discovered, not with food, but with alcohol. 3 crates of McKinley's rare old Highland malt whiskey and 2 of brandy. This find was a big deal and showed how tough things were for early Antarctic explorers. Even though alcohol might warm you up a bit, it doesn't protect you from the extreme cold. The story of these whiskey crates is pretty interesting. They were carefully dug out and sent to New Zealand, where they were slowly thawed. Inside, 11 bottles of whiskey were found, still wrapped in their original paper and straw. Experts examined the whiskey and recreated it. Now, you can taste a piece of history with McKinley's rare old Highland malt. They even made a new batch called The Journey to celebrate the adventure of exploring Antarctica. Preserved fruitcake. Take a look at this surprising discovery of fruitcake found at the South Pole. To our surprise, it is the same type of fruitcake that many people avoid during the holidays. In 2017, the Antarctic Heritage Trust found this old fruitcake inside a rusty tin wrapped in wax paper at a hut in Camp Air. Amazingly, it still looked and smelled fresh, though no one dared to taste it. The freezing Antarctic conditions acted like a giant freezer, keeping the cake well preserved. It was likely meant to give Scott and his team some warmth and energy during their tough journey. Sadly, while the cake stayed safe, Scott and his team met a tragic end. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.